Prime Minister Narendra Modi's doctrine on dealing with terror, Operation Sindoor. The massacre in Pahalgam was not just an attack on innocent lives, it was an assault on India's conscience. In response, India decided to rewrite the rulebook on counter-terrorism. Operation Sindoor is the Modi government's clearest articulation of a zero-tolerance, no-compromise policy to safeguard national security. The Modi doctrine. Prime Minister Narendra Modi outlined the doctrine for dealing with terrorism during his televised address to the nation. The doctrine, shaped by recent events, establishes a decisive framework for India's response to terrorism and external threats. Prime Minister Modi ensured every move from suspending the Indus Waters Treaty to launching military strikes on terror camps was carefully planned and timed. The government chose strategy over impulse. This helped prevent Pakistan and terror groups from anticipating India's response. It ensured that Operation Sindoor was executed with surprise, precision, and full impact. Operation Sindoor, the new normal. Operation Sindoor is now India's established policy in the fight against terrorism, marking a decisive shift in India's strategic approach, declared the Prime Minister, stating that the operation has set a new standard, a new normal in counter-terrorism measures. As the Prime Minister stated in his address, Operation Sindoor is not just a name, but a reflection of the feelings of millions of people of the country. It was India's message to the world that barbarity will be met with calibrated force. The complicity of neighboring states in terrorism will no longer be shielded behind diplomatic facades or nuclear rhetoric. Three pillars of the Modi doctrine. The first key pillar of doctrine includes decisive retaliation on India's terms. Any terrorist attack on India will be met with a fitting response, executed on India's own terms. The country will take strict action against the roots of terrorism, ensuring that perpetrators of their sponsors face the consequences. The second pillar is a zero tolerance for nuclear blackmail. India will not succumb to nuclear threats or coercion. The doctrine asserts that any attempt to use nuclear blackmail as a shield of terrorism will be met with precise and decisive action. The third pillar of the doctrine refers to no distinction between terrorists and their sponsors. India will hold both terrorists and their enablers accountable. The doctrine makes it clear that those who harbor terrorists, finance them, or support terror will face the same consequences as the perpetrators themselves. Prime Minister Modi put the issue in a global context, warning that nations supporting terrorism would ultimately face self-destruction. Prime Minister Modi urged them to dismantle their terror infrastructure before it is too late. Prime Minister Modi said that the new doctrine marks a significant shift in India's approach to national security, setting a precedent for a firm and resolute stance against terrorism. The government remains committed to safeguarding its citizens and ensuring that India's sovereignty remains uncompromised, he added. No more business as usual with terror. This is not the first time India has acted with clarity and courage. From surgical strikes in 2016 to Balakot and now Operation Sindoor, India under Prime Minister Modi has built a clear doctrine, swift, decisive action against terror on India's terms. Each step has raised the bar and shown India's resolve to act with precision when provoked. This time the message from India is unambiguous. Terror and trade cannot go together. The Attari-Wagah border has been shut. Bilateral trade has been suspended. Visas have been cancelled. The Indus Waters Treaty has been put on hold. In the Prime Minister's words, water and blood cannot flow together. The economic and diplomatic costs of backing terror are now real and rising. History will remember India's response to Pahalgam as measured and principled. It will remember our response to terror. Bharat stood tall, spoke with one voice, and struck with one force. Operation Sindoor is not the end, it is the beginning of a new era of clarity, courage, and our sankalp to tackle terror. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you, everyone. Bye.